Hello, welcome to Zines and Roger. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how I join my granny squares when using the mattress stitch. If you use the mattress stitch you get a join that looks something like this, which I think is becoming more and more popular these days because it's a really invisible join. You can't see the yarn you use to actually thread the squares together, and it's so neat and tidy, and this is a great alternative if you don't want to use join as you go, or when using lots of different colours for your edges and you don't want to kind of plan all those join as you go stitches in advance. You can lay out all of your granny squares and then sew them together afterwards with the mattress stitch. I will also just show you what it's like to join a larger square to two smaller ones. It's very similar, and it's not anything to worry about when you're joining your squares together. But why don't we get started? This is just a blanket that I've just started joining together, so why not use squares of the blanket to demonstrate. So these four I want to join all together, and at the moment they're separate. And then what I'm going to do is, despite it being an invisible join, I still like to colour match my yarn when sewing together. That means when I'm going to join this one to this one first, so I'm going to move those out of the way. Whoops. And I'm going to get myself a length. Let's get a length of yarn. I don't know what that is, but an arm's length, something like that. And then I'm going to thread that needle. And this is how I do it. I haven't watched anybody else's techniques, but I've just started adapting to this method, and it works pretty well, so we're going to go for it. So I've got two squares. In the one that's furthest away from me, in all the corners of my granny squares, I've got two chains. So in the first of those two chains, or the closest one to me, I pull through the yarn and then leave a tail that's about so long. What's that? 4 or 5 inches, something like that. And then in the mirroring chain on the other square, I'll insert my hook needle. And so that's the very beginning of it. And then in the same chain, pop the needle into it and then go underneath the next one and pull it through. And then again in the mirroring stitches of the other square, I'm going to go down into the first one and then come back up into the next one. Oops. I say oops, it's always really difficult to do this thing on camera. And then down. I might just zoom in a little bit. That's better. This one already has thread in it, but I'm going to go into it and then back up the next one. And you'll notice that I'm just doing the facing loops of the squares, okay? Which means this one next door to this one. I mean, not literally, but just all of these ones I'm working into, and all of these ones. So they face each other, they're next door to each other, okay? And then where that thread is from the previous, go into it and then come back up the next one. And you can do that a few times before you pull it closed. I don't like to do the whole square before I pull it closed, because I think sometimes that can lead to a bit of bunching up or jamming of the yarn. So I usually just do a few goes before pulling it. A bit more than this. Let's do a couple more. So down and up. Get that tail out of the way. Down and up. I think it's also called a ladder stitch. So you do a few like that. Catching all the threads of the plies, and then when you've done a few, you can just pull them all together closed. You may have seen this done a few times, and it's really satisfying to do. And then you just carry on. So I've gone into that one there. And you do it all the way along. And so these squares are right side up. So this will be the top of my blanket. My fingers might look a bit weird. They're in a configuration that they're not normally in, just because when you're sewing your squares together on the couch or the sofa, you don't do it on an old bit of worktop in front of you, which is what I'm doing today. My new desk in my new office is actually spare kitchen worktop. But this is what I'll probably be doing most of my tutorials on from now on. And I think when I've used this before in other blankets, and when I first started I was super duper slow, but now I am much quicker and more confident at doing it, and it's great. It's a really visually pleasing stitch once it's all done together. So I'm coming to the end now. This is where I tied a knot. I tied a knot in this one, so it's a bit difficult to see, but to be honest with you, I'm not fussed, so I'm just gonna wriggle it in wherever it feels comfortable and kind of pretend that that was my intention all along. So pull that closed and it looks something like that. And then I'm just going to go back into, well, let's see, I haven't caught this one yet either, so let's just introduce, make sure that corner is in there as well. There we go. And then you can sew in, if you're confident that that is how you want it and it all looks good, then flip it over onto the back, and that's what it looks like on the back. And then by all means sew in the end. I don't have a particular preferred technique to do this method. Just usually I'll sew it all the way to the end, and that's going to be enough tail sewing. But that'll be all right for now. Okay, so I would continue to sew it till about here, and then I know it's all lovely jubbly. Okie pokes. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. So that's going to be like that and that. I want another one, and I'm going to do exactly the same for this one, but get, I don't know, I'll grab the mint first. So again, like about an arm's length of yarn. After you've done it a few times, you get to know the length of the yarn required, but I kind of make it up. And you do the same thing again on this one, so I might not show you all of it. The knobbly bit was there. I've just turned it around just because of video tutorial ease. Same place. So you're kind of overlapping those stitches really by putting it back in the same place as where you've already been. And that's what makes it so lovely and secure as well. The first few stitches can feel a bit loose and floppy, but you can always just pull tightly to begin with, and then you know you've got a good sound structure to just continue with the rest of them. There you go, that's that one joined. Then I'm going to join this one, and this is a bit more interesting actually, because we are going to make this centre all neat and tidy, incorporating that into our mattress stitch as we sew around. So yellow square, let's get some yellow yarn. So we're going to begin the same way. Gosh, I'm awfully hot. It's very warm in this room and the sun is shining. And in this one, I hope I haven't got yarn that's too long and will tangle. So I'm just going to do this off camera actually, because it's exactly the same as before. Just the first bit up to about here, and then I'll come back. Hang on. Okie dokie, I have gone in and out all the way along, shaking it about. I've not done the hokey cokey, but I'm about to turn it around because we're going to join the centre as well as we do our little mattress stitch. I'm nearly there, nearly there. Okie dokie. Where am I with that one? I'd ideally like to be in this corner chain and this corner chain. Right, get that nice and tight. Then, I wasn't joking when I was going to turn it around, because I'm going to turn it around and work into this chain and this chain of the two chains that you do in the corners of your granny squares. And this time it's the outer chains, front loops rather than the back. Then turn it around and do the same with the red. And if you're brave, you can go in two at a time. And again. And finally with the yellow. Oh, that one almost kicked me off then. Right. Pull. Isn't that a sight for sore eyes? Oh, it looks so good. Just a little twiddly twiddle all the way around and you get magic. I love it. And then we work down the other end, the other side of the granny. I unpicked it a little bit because I don't know, you might have noticed already, but I didn't notice as I was doing it, that I went into the back loop of that one, not the front loop, and it caused my sewing down here to go a bit skewy after a couple of stitches. So I just do it again to make sure it's in the right one and pull that again. Do it right first time, woman. Okay. Yeah, so as before, in, out, all the way along. Make sure you get the right loops. Every time I film tutorials, I get something wrong and have to do it all again, and it makes me want to cry. And there you have them all stitched together, looking very nice indeed. Can you move, please? I've got stuff to do. Thank you. You're going to go and sit on the windowsill. You can't have that. Okay, let's attach a large granny square to 2 small granny squares. The principle is the same and you will find it an absolute doddle. So what we're going to do is the same stitches as normal. In fact, I might just do a zoom in because I don't know if I did last time. If it wants to focus, is it focusing? And this is quite dark yarn, so I'm just realising that maybe it's not great for a tutorial. Whoops. What I'm going to do to make life easier, and what you'll likely do when you're sat there working on your blanket, is to pick it up and work with it so that it's not on a flat surface. And as you work, don't forget to make sure that your granny clusters are aligned as well, because it can be easy for them to just go slightly skewy and off centre, and that can have an impact later on down the line. Which one did I go into last? That one. And we are joined by a visitor now, and I hope she doesn't make too many horrible cat noises. Or knock the camera, as she likes to do. I think I've turned on a function on my camera to block out background noise, and that includes cat annoyance, but also there's some kids, pesky kids outside making noise as well, and I don't know if you'll hear them. If you do, you know, such is life, noise happens. It's the summer holidays and they're having a good time. You watch yourself, Mrs. There she goes. She's bored of me now. Okay, oh, just not the camera, sorry. Okie dokie. So we're in the centre now, and I've landed on the, oh gosh, clever, so clever to use this dark yarn, isn't it? I've landed on the last stitch of this cluster when doing my mattress stitch, but I want to join this line to these two, so I'm going to go into the top of it as well, hoping that that doesn't have any interference, and into the top of the next stitch as well. And then, as before, the two top stitches of the, get out of the way, of the corner chains. I think this is one here. And the same for this mint green fella. And pull them all to close. And then if you want a bit of additional reinforcement, and this counts for any of your joins in the centres, then feel free to go around again. And you can always do this on the back as well, and that just brings them together a little bit more tightly, because occasionally you might get like the odd like slightly loose loop or something like that, so you can just tighten those by reinforcing. But I'm not going to do that on the video. What I tend to do is when I'm working on my blanket is just double checking every now and again, and then if I feel like I need to make something a bit more structurally sound, then I will just go in and add a few extra stitches or what have you. Right, so we continue, and then we're back to the back, the basing loops. Until you have joined all the way. And again, just sort of keep an eye out, because this is kind of an area where you could get it all skewy, so just double check every now and again. And then, yeah, you'll probably feel more comfortable picking it up. Okay, and that is how you mattress stitch and then join them as well, those squares all together, so it's nice and neat and tidy, and I love it. Oh, sound a bit enthusiastic then, sorry, I'll tone it down. Yes, all right. Okay, you know what to do now. So basically what I've done, I can't remember if I said at the beginning now, but I've got a tutorial for a small granny square, this one, there's a tutorial on how to make that, a tutorial on how to make this big boy, and then there's this one, so you can join them all together and make your blanket. And then who knows, maybe I'll do like once I've stitched all my squares together, and I've got like 84 little ones and 12 big ones, I think. And once they are all joined together, well, the blanket will need a border, so if I come back with a border tutorial, don't be surprised. But also, don't be surprised if I don't get around to it. Right, okay, I'm too lazy to finish that. There you go. I think that's pretty awesome. So you've got mattress stitch, joining your grannies. I love it. Okay, if you enjoyed that tutorial, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, because I do podcasts occasionally, as well as the occasional tutorial. Oh, I've just seen a ginger cat in the garden. Who is he? I've been told about this notorious ginger cat. Yeah, back soon. Thank you ever so much for watching. See you again. Cheerio. Bye bye.